Let's go ahead and talk about the booster history for this particular Falcon 9 first stage booster as it goes for its 9th flight to date. Its first mission came on March 2nd, 2023, starting with a crew mission. This was the launch of a Crew Dragon spacecraft up to the International Space Station with the Crew 6 mission. Next was April 28th, 2023, a pair of satellites for Luxembourg-based company SES, the O3B mPOWER 3 and 4 satellites. It was followed up by a Starlink mission on June 4th, 2023. That was Starlink 6-4, 6-8 on August 7th, and then on September 16th, 6-16, 6-31 on December 3rd. Coming into this year, a mission for U.S. Space Force USSF 124 back on February 14th on Valentine's Day. And then most recently we had the Starlink 6-46 mission on March 25th, which brings us to our current flight of Starlink 6-53. And again, if successful, the booster landing will mark the 300th for SpaceX to date. This is also set to be the 30th launch from Florida in 2024. We are now starting to get some pad views from SpaceX as well.
Strong back retract has started.
You do have that call out for strong back retract underway. See those clamp arms opening up underneath the payload fairings, which looks like they've got a little bit of life on them, so these are likely fairings that have flown at least once. SpaceX doesn't publish typically the flight history of the payload fairings, although I know there are a number of folks who would love to see that data be included in their flight pages. Now less than 3.5 minutes to liftoff. We're coming up on the conclusion of LOX load on the Falcon 9 first stage here. Now coming into the
Stage 2, LOX load complete.
Now coming into the final minute and a half for the Falcon 9. Hear that call for Stage 2 LOX load complete. The Falcon 9 is fully fueled with 1 million pounds of propellant. The venting you're seeing here are ground gas closeouts.
Ground gas closeout.
You hear that call out here. So we're coming into the final minute of the count. There'll be a few more callouts, and so in order to not step on those, we'll come back to the live chat on the other side of liftoff so we can keep our attention here on the mission. But just note that I do see those super chats. Very appreciative, and we'll acknowledge them.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
In due time. We're at T-minus 43 seconds and counting. SpaceX launch director will next give their go for liftoff, and we'll be headed towards a Falcon flight.
SpaceX launch director, go for launch.
There we have it. Just a little over 30 seconds now to the planned liftoff of the Falcon 9 rocket. 15 seconds. And here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Engine ignition. And liftoff of the 41st Falcon flight of the year. The vehicle has cleared the tower. Now 20 seconds into flight, let's listen to the roar of those 9 Merlin 1D engines. Now coming up on a minute to flight, so far all nominal. Vehicle's about to pass through max Q, the point of greatest aerodynamic pressure on the vehicle. It's a little tricky tracking today with the amount of clouds. There's the call for max Q. Rocket passing through the point of greatest aerodynamic pressure on the vehicle. We're going to hit a number of events coming up in fairly rapid succession. First will be main engine cutoff, or MECO, at T plus 2 minutes and 26 seconds, followed by stage separation 4 seconds later. That'll set up for second stage engine start, or SES1, and then fairing deployment just before the 3-minute mark. Seeing some onboard camera views of the Falcon 9 here. Now less than 20 seconds from MECO. There you see MECO. Followed by stage separation. And second stage engine start. Getting some pretty solid views considering the amount of clouds that are hovering in the area. Payload fairing separation now underway. You can see those fairings falling away from the Falcon 9 second stage. Glinting off the sunlight
Fairing
here.
separation confirmed.
And these tracking views coming from our friend Pete Karstens with Max Q Productions. Those onboard views from the Falcon 9's first and second stages on the right-hand side of your screen. We have a view of the first stage. Those little puffs that you see there are the cold gas thrusters helping to adjust the attitude of the vehicle. At the same time, we can report that the hold has been released on the Electron rocket flight. Now T-minus 11 minutes, 36 seconds and counting to the liftoff of that vehicle. Taking the final pull right now. Meanwhile, on the Falcon flight, we are less than 2 minutes away from the first stage entry burn beginning. And hopefully, if the clouds keep away, we'll be able to bring you the first stage entry burn here through Pete's tracking camera. Meanwhile, in the Electron flight, we do have confirmation that the team has pulled go for that mission launch. You could see just to the left of the hypersonic grid fin there on the SpaceX onboard views, view of the Bahamas. So if we got some friends down in that area, there's a chance to maybe be able to look up and see this Falcon 9 first stage booster. With the time of day and the brightness of the sky, it may be a little tricky at this point to be able to exactly capture the first stage entry burn, although we're going to give it our best here. Coming up on minute 6 of the Falcon flight. We're 17 minutes, or excuse me, less than 17 seconds from the entry burn beginning in real time. The time you want to look for with these onboard camera views is the bottom of the screen, the SpaceX feed time, coming out on about a 10-12 second delay. Oh, there you see the start of the entry burn in real time. Well done, Pete.
Stage 1 FCS is saved.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
And there you see the start of the entry burn here on the SpaceX delay, and the end of the entry burn in real time. Very tricky to track through the clouds, but well done, Pete, on that.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
You see the shutdown of the entry burn coming up on the landing burn now in just over a minute.
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
And once we have the first stage booster here on this mission touch down on the drone ship, we can get confirmation of good orbital insertion. We will pivot back over to the Rocket Lab launch. So be sure to stay tuned for that. You get 2 for the price of 1 today. Now 7.5 minutes into flight by the SpaceX count.
Stage 1 transonic.
Falcon 9 now transonic, traveling below the speed of sound, and you can see the speedometer continue to drop rapidly there on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Coming up on the start of the landing burn, less than 10 seconds from now.
Stage 1 landing burn.
You see the landing burn now getting underway. Should see views from the drone ship momentarily.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
And with that,
Stage 1 landing confirmed.
this is landing number 300 for SpaceX. The 300th time a Falcon booster has landed on either a drone ship or safely on land.
MVAC shutdown.
And with that call for MVAC shutdown
Nominal orbit insertion.
and that orbital insertion call